host, Samantha Stone, and I have two special guests this week. We have Mayor Scott Galvin, as always, and today we have the pleasure of starting with our library director, Bonnie, and we're going to talk all things library programming and pirates on the lawn and all kinds of stuff. Welcome, Bonnie.
Oh, it's so great to be here.
So I got to tell you, when I saw the Jolly Roger flag flying above the lawn, I had to say I got a little excited about all things pirates. Tell us about the programming going on there.
Well, I'm so glad you caught the Jolly Roger flying from the flagpole. You know, we thought it might give people pause to realize we had, some great piratey things going on throughout the month of October. So we have Woburn's own Captain Jack coming on Fridays to do story time out on the lawn. And we also have a kind of really fun event on October 24th, which is Captain Jack's Pirate Adventure with Davy Jones. So there'll be, more details to follow, but it looks to be a very fun scavenger hunt escapade on our front lawn. So.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so fun. I have to tell you, I had like 3 people reach out to me afterwards and say, we stopped by the library today and that Captain Jack is amazing. Is he a teacher? Was he like, how has he been trained? Like, he had my child in complete awe, right? Like, he was just had everybody really drawn in. I'm so glad that it's working out well.
It was fun, and thanks for connecting us. Actually, we met on your show, so.
It's always, isn't that nice when that happens? I love it. I love it. I saw the other day, I was driving by in Woburn Center, and there was a musician in the center in the evening playing sort of across from the Mexican restaurant Ixtapa, and they were rocking out there and they were totally jamming. So I pulled into the parking lot and I walked over, and of course I gave him a little bit of a tip because he made me smile. Yeah. But I was also going to ask him about coming on the show, but unfortunately he was sort of a traveling performer and wasn't going to be there much longer. But it's nice to make those connections.
Oh, it's great. And actually we have a nice musical performance by Stacey Peasley coming up on a Saturday in October as well on the front lawn if you're looking for it. It's a little more family and child oriented, but it's still so great to hear, wonderful music outdoors in the fall,
We're so lucky that we're going to enjoy these few weeks while we can, right? And
absolutely. Then, the weather is just stunning. So.
Before we know it, we'll be making snowmans on the lawn instead.
Yeah, right. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll get some snow and be able to have some fun that way out there this year too.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Things that are fun that are going to be happening on the lawn. I also want to be sure to mention on it's Sunday, October 25th, we're going to have a haunted harvest pumpkin patch out on the front lawn. So expect hundreds of pumpkins. It'll be a nice socially distant event for families or anyone who really wants to come and partake in it. You'll need to register for a socially distant time slot between 9 and 2. There'll be free pumpkins and great photo opportunities kind of throughout a little bit of a walk. And hopefully people can leave with a socially distant bag of candy. So we're kind of looking at kind of new fun ways to kind of celebrate Halloween in this kind of a bizarre year, so.
Well, that sounds really fun. And that's my birthday. So, if anybody wants to, say happy birthday to me while they're walking through the pumpkin patch, it'll always be appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. So what a fun time to have a birthday. So.
I won't forget the date. That's for sure. I think that's great. I'm so glad to hear that. We have certainly heard a lot of people asking about Halloween happenings because Halloween's so important to Woburn, as you know, and steeped in tradition. So tell us more about the pumpkin patch. Will people be bringing pumpkins or just have a chance to walk through? How will it work?
No, actually, we'll be providing the pumpkins, and families can come and select their own pumpkin, with their families and leave with a free pumpkin. And then they'll just kind of walk through a pumpkin patch, and there'll be, some activities and just like a really fun fall festive day,
I love that. Fall festive days are some of my favorites. I've started to do hot chocolate outside on the patio a little bit. So
absolutely. And if you want to get even more festive and show off your jack-o'-lantern or painted pumpkin that you might have made by yourself, at home, we're also having a haunted harvest pumpkin glow up on the following Thursday night, which I believe is the 29th. And there'll be more details to come on the website at the library as well. So just a fun way to get together in a socially distant way. And Woburn does seem to love Halloween. So.
We are, orange and black are our colors. So we are definitely ready for Halloween. Thank you for sharing all those. Those are really exciting, fun things for people to jump in and
actually, we also have a coloring contest going on with pumpkins. So you can pick up 2 different coloring sheets at the library now, and we'll put the entries on display in the library until the pumpkin glow up, which is on the 29th, and we'll announce winners and prizes as well. So if you're looking to do a little
Is
coloring.
there an age limit, or can I come in and do the coloring? I don't know.
There's no age limit. We have 2 different types of pumpkins you can color. So, you know, it's a very relaxing activity, whether you're young or old. So everyone's welcome to join in, and it should be a lot of fun. You know.
That sounds really fun. My mother-in-law, unfortunately has Alzheimer's, but one of the things she still enjoys doing is coloring. So we do a lot of sort of adult coloring books and things with her. So it's a great, and I find myself doing it sort of in passing when I'm on video calls and I need a little something to distract me, and so my mind can focus on the call at hand. So that's great.
That's great. Yeah, so the coloring sheets are available at the library. We're also going to put a PDF up online too if people, you know, can't get it together or for some reason would rather print it in color from home. So it should be a lot of fun and add a lot of color to the library.
I love it. That's all Halloween happenings are going on. I'm so glad that we talked about that. A couple of other questions for you. I've had a few seniors reach out, and by seniors, I don't mean high school seniors. I mean our elder population who really miss story time with the kids. And we know that necessarily bringing them and having them come out to family things in person might not be the safest option. Will we maybe be trying to do some kind of virtual story time with some of our residents who maybe can't come out in person to some of these things and enjoy them?
Yeah, so actually it leads me to a great new partnership we have going on with the Senior Center. We actually have senior programming 4 times a week and there's free transportation available to bring seniors to the library from across the city as well. And as part of that partnership, we're exploring different ways to connect seniors with children in safe ways, since we have, you know, 2 kind of vulnerable populations kind of in the midst of this pandemic. So, you know, we've talked about different ways to share stories or create stories together. So, you know, look for that, you know, coming. And right now for the seniors, I'll mention it since we're talking about it, we have Movie Mondays, Tech Tuesdays, Reading Wednesdays, where we highlight, you know, all the new books that we've got coming in and talk about different enjoyable reads and do some readers advisory. And then we have art for seniors on Thursdays as well. So they can come, everything meets at 10:30, and just a way to stay connected and, you know, get to the library, particularly as the days start to get shorter and it starts to get darker. And, you don't want people feeling isolated.
I'm so glad I'm like ready for bed at like 7 o'clock at night. It's dark already. I get my pajamas on. I am a slave to sunlight. Like, I didn't know this about myself until recent years, but I've really noticed how much the winter darkness gets to me. So I'm glad we're finding ways to support that community and serve that, since some of the ways that they normally would go out and stuff is a little bit more challenging for people to do safely.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly the weather's turned. You know, you just feel like Christmas in the air already.
If I said that to my husband, he'd be, I'm already just telling him to bring the Halloween decorations up.
Absolutely. One more cold day and they'll all be up, right?
That's right. I'm helping Bonnie. This has been a really good chat about some really fun programming that's happening in October. One of the other things that dawned on me is there's big election cycles going on. Do we have any book clubs or discussion groups or anything that we might be doing even virtually around election cycles and things as people are looking for ways to share information with each other?
Specifically about the presidential election?
Yeah, well, or even local election, you know, local state elections and questions that are on the ballot, for example, that we have coming up.
We don't currently have anything planned, but it's a fabulous idea. We could look into seeing, you know, different ways we could support those discussions.
Yeah, we've got some great active people in the community. Maybe they can reach out and coordinate some things with you. I was thinking in my head, like, what are all the things that I need to get up to speed on and know? I'm hoping you can also put a rumor to rest for me. Let's just get it out on the table and get rid of it. So there has been discussion that when we put in the self-checkout stations at the library, that we are no longer in ADA compliance with visitors visiting the library. And I'm hopeful and optimistic that that is not true, but I thought, let's just chat about it. What's the situation? If there is a problem, what are we doing to fix it? If there is no problem, great, let's just let everybody know.
Yeah, we put in 3 ADA compliant self-checkouts during the period the library was closed to, you know, due to the pandemic. So And we also have a concierge steps away to help anyone who might need assistance should anything come up. So
good. So we should be in good shape. If anybody sees anything that isn't and that needs help, we do have a person there that can also serve to help them. I know I've seen them helping many people who need assistance just because they're getting used to new technology. So it's great that we have.
Fantastic.
Okay, good. Thanks for bringing that up. How is supervised learning going? I know that you have, I believe we have some students who are using the library.
Actually, we don't have students at the library yet. It's been a phenomenal program in the city of Woburn, and probably the mayor can talk about it more, kind of the details. We have the STEM coordinators from the schools working out of 2 of the study rooms. And we have the community engagement liaison working out of the library as well. So we have the space available should the need arise to bring it to for students to study at the library. But currently, the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club and other community partners are really doing a fantastic job working with learners in this kind of new normal.
That's great. Well, I know we're going to get a lot of students home from colleges and Thanksgiving. I think most schools that are physically open are sending students home at Thanksgiving, and they're not coming back until, sort of the following term. I know I have one of my own who's going to be coming home at that time, much to their disappointment. I think they love me and my cooking, but they'd rather be on campus. So are there things that we'll be doing around that time of year to make sure there's space for those students or extra reference, resources or anything that we have planned to accommodate that?
Yeah, actually the upper mezzanine level, we've put in socially distanced desks 6 feet apart, kind of across the mezzanine, to add more capacity, much like before, but we've added power towers next to each one, figuring people are going to come in and want to plug in. So we're making as much space available for study as we can, so we anticipate an influx of students, absolutely.
And one of the things I know about the library, and I think this is because I hearken back to the days of being like 12 years old and whispering with my friends and getting yelled at by the librarian to be quiet. Our library, luckily, is not quite, nobody's coming over with a ruler and rattling on our knuckles anymore. Are there spaces that are a little bit more inclined for people who might be taking a class and, need a private space away from home to do that, or might be a little bit noisier than, just sitting and sort of finding a quiet space? Or is that something that we really can't do given the constraints of space and things today?
No, I think the mezzanine tends to be quiet. The gallery tends to be quiet. I think a lot of people are studying and working, and interacting with headphones. So it's surprisingly more quiet than you would anticipate.
Well, nothing is ever quiet in my household. So I don't know what that's like, Bonnie, but I have hope that someday I will find out.
Well,
but,
you should pop on in,
I might. I'm actually doing research for a book, and sometimes I just need to step
great.
away from my office. So I might pop in to get a little bit of a break. So.
That'd be great. Love to see you.
Yeah, that's great. Last question for you before I invite the mayor to join our conversation. I know that we had to say goodbye to Jory and our children's librarian. Is there someone who's currently on staff that's stepping up to take that role on? Are we hiring somebody? What's the current situation there?
Well, right now we have librarians on staff, and we have, a talented staff. So everyone's kind of stepping up and fulfilling that role.
Good. Well, we love to see all those smiling faces. I had a friend who posted a bubble party. They had their nieces just got their library cards for the first time. And
it's such an exciting moment in a child's life when they get their library cards. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember getting a bubble party when the first time I got my library card, but I guess I'll have to let that
Well, if you ever want to get a new one,
I'll come in and I'll just go down to the children's area and have them do it. I love it. We're all kids at heart. Well, Bonnie, thank you so much for this update. It sounds like we got lots of great stuff going on. We look forward to seeing the November schedule, and in the meantime, doing all these Halloween happenings and fall festivities.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing I'd like to mention, if you have a moment.
Of course.
We're going to be going live this week with tutor.com, which is a new service for residents in Woburn. It's access to free one-on-one live tutors, K through 12, beginning college. It also helps with job seeking assistance and adult learners. So I just wanted to mention that. We're kind of excited.
Wow. Tell us more about that, because it's not a service that I know, but it sounds like something that a lot of people will be able to take advantage of. Is it something they sign up for on the library website?
Yep, it'll be on the library website under services. And it should go live this week. We'll promote it on Facebook as well. But you know, sometimes as we're all kind of, you know, doing a lot of support with, you know, children and subjects and studying ourselves, just to have that access to one-on-one person, you know, I think might be very helpful in this climate. We'll see. You know? But I just want
I think it will be very helpful. You know, even, you know, I know just remembering back from when I was helping my kids, and it's not that I don't necessarily know the answer to the math problem in 5th grade, but I don't actually know the method they're supposed to use to get to the answer. And so sometimes I feel like I would do more harm than good trying to help them with their homework. So it's, I assume these are tutors who are familiar with our curriculum and such.
completely vetted and yeah, absolutely. So something to look for. You know?
That's awesome. Well, I love it. I can't wait to hear how that goes. Anything else going on? Because I don't want to cut off all this goodness. Maybe you've got some more secret stuff to chat about.
We have so much going on, but certainly don't want to take the mayor's time. But yeah, there's plenty. You know, visit the website, check us out on social media. A lot going on, and a lot more to come. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll have you back again at the beginning of November. We'll talk about all that good November happenings then.
All right, thanks so much, and hopefully we'll see you in the library.
You bet. Thanks, Bonnie.
All right.
Welcome, Scott.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So thanks for letting us have some time to chat about the library and all the Halloween happenings and fall programming and things that are happening there. It's lots of good stuff.
Yeah, you know, I missed it. I know Bonnie has a lot going on, and I missed. I think she probably did, but the GED program that they're starting. Did she mention that as well?
No, she didn't. Tell us about that, Bonnie.
Yeah, Bonnie, jump back on. Maybe she can't hear me. Yeah, the GED program, Bonnie.
Yeah, the school had reached out, you know, with looking for possible space to host high-set GED. So we're working with them to see if we can bring that to the library. You know, just with all the, you know, different COVID restrictions and cleaning requirements, you know, the more we can offer community programs to helping everyone in the community, the better. So it's something we're particularly excited about as well. Like I said, there's so much going on at the library, it's hard to remember it all.
Well, thank you for mentioning this, Scott. I think that's a good one.
I think it's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear about it, and I'm glad to see that we've got a lot of different parts of our community served, right? So one of the things that I like about that is we have some stuff for children. You certainly have some stuff for seniors. We talked about college students who might be coming home. This is a program for those who might have different needs to prepare for GEDs, etc.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that
Serving the whole community. That's what we're looking to see, and I think they're getting, you know, different parts will certainly be getting good use out of the library.
Yeah, I'd love it. We'll keep doing it, keep adding. There's so many different parts of our community, and we talked about some great things coming up for the November and elections and stuff. Scott, one of the things we talked about was, you know, ideas for programming and discussion groups and things that might happen around elections, and even just the local Massachusetts questions that are on the ballot and such. And so I know Bill is really, really busy and couldn't join us today, but I did want to just mention a couple of things for our audience around what's coming up. So early voting in person starts October 17th. And on the website, there's a list of places for that. And then I think the mail-in ballots are supposed to arrive to Woburn City Hall, I assume, October 9th. And assuming that happens, we would then turn those around and get those out fairly quickly.
Right. Bill actually updated me this morning. So the one thing is the ballots he says will be up to 8,000 already. There's been requests for that many, you know, between the primary and leading up to the big election. He's got right now 8,000 ballots being mailed out over the next week or so. And of course, people still have the right at any time to request a mail-in ballot as we go forward right up to the election. The early voting.
I think just to be clear, I think is it October 20th? There is a deadline, I believe, just so people know that. And I don't want to misstate it because Bill will call me up and yell at me. But on the website, there is a date.
We'll make sure we get that out. I think that's important for people to know, because you don't want them to you know, wait to the last minute and then they can't do it.
And it's just due to the logistics of mail and things. I don't think there's any other reason for it except wanting to make sure that things arrive when they're intended to.
Yeah. The early voting, you're right, that starts October 17th for 2 weeks, starts on a Saturday, 8 to 1 at the Wyman. That's the only location for the early voting. So everybody remembers where the old Wyman school is. That's where the early voting will be for 2 weeks, 7 days a week, including Saturdays and Sundays. So it's a good service. There's really no excuse for people not to vote and be involved, which is important, particularly, in this this day and time, and the importance of everybody's vote. So a lot of different options.
Excited that we have all those options and grateful to the community to do that. And I love seeing the old building used because it's such a beautiful space. So I'm glad to, I'm a sucker for history. So I love seeing that kind of stuff, and I'm glad it's being used. Couple of other things. So tons and tons of people, and I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to ask you again because it keeps coming up. What would be the situation, the criteria by which the city of Woburn would ask families not to do trick-or-treating on Halloween?
Well, look, and I wanted to talk more about this. Over the weekend, we had another, I'd say another unwelcome increase in the number of cases we had. And we didn't expect it. We had over 16 new cases, which is a considerable amount of money, a considerable amount of cases in just 2 days. I think we had 10 heading into the weekend, and it's a continuing increase, which is starting to really becoming a major concern of all of us, particularly all the hard work that we put in towards opening the schools and establishing a good hybrid educational system for the kids. So we're concerned about those numbers, but getting back to the question of Halloween, if things are continuing in this trend, not only in the city of Woburn, but also across the Commonwealth, Halloween is the least of our concerns. I know how much it does mean to kids, so I don't want to sound heartless, but it's one of those things that if the CDC, as one of they talk about different alternatives for Halloween, and they rate that our traditional way of Halloween, when you go from door to door, that's the most contagious and the most at risk behavior that you can have for Halloween. They recommend a number of different options, and of course our traditional one is the least desirable. So right now we've got a little over 3 weeks to make a decision on that, and as I said, you realize how important it is to the children and sometimes parents too, but in the scheme of things, that's depending on where we are with our caseload and how things are going, that's when we'll make a decision. So it's going to be probably closer to the middle of October before we have a better grip on that.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
And I think even if we do proceed forward, I think the CDC had some good guidelines. I read through, suggestions around sort of a table at the end of the walk. We don't have people come to a door, have individually wrapped things so people aren't sticking their hands in a bowl. That's, sort of a shared space. And I know we have a lot of people who will make decisions for themselves regardless of whether the city allows it or not. And we have to respect those decisions.
Yeah, sure they will. Right. And that's the whole thing we talk about. With our cases going, our case count going up, you and I talk about this all the time. And I can't stress this, people have made tremendous sacrifices over the past 6 months. Businesses, residents, students, parents, everybody's made, public safety have made great sacrifices, and there's a tendency now to just say, I'm done with this, but we have to keep going and not let our guard down. And remember, it's the easy things, wearing the mask, social distance, and good hygiene. But those, we can say it's really easy to do, but sometimes people just don't want to abide by those rules.
Yeah, it is really hard, and we're all fatigued, and we have to remember that. We're seeing this at a national level, right? It's happening in DC. We're seeing a single event infect a lot of people. Now,
Right.
Luckily, they have some of the best medical care, and they have access to experimental treatments, and hopefully all those people will recover well and be healthy. But it is a wake-up call and a reminder that it doesn't take very much, but we can do some things. And one of those things is to wear masks and keep some distance from each other, and respect the boundaries that are hard, and we're tired of them. And it's only going to get harder. It's going to get darker, and it's going to get colder. Yeah. And so the tendency to be outside, which is a little bit safer, I think most science tells us that being outside with air circulation is helpful. we know that will get harder. So take advantage of the fall safe activities that we can, and let's all try and do our part to keep Halloween as close to normal as we can.
Yeah.
And be ready for that. I've seen some, fun things going on. We've talked in the past about the scarecrow competitions, and I've seen some people advertising pumpkin people maps they're going to build around.
Well, that's good.
We've got some wonderful things in the library lawn that Bonnie's
Right.
chatted about. So
Good.
that's great. Good. One last question for you. We had a couple of people, Scott, who talked about flu shots, and I guess in the past, maybe Woburn has done some flu shots for some portions of our community, or people were, I don't know if that's true. So
Yeah.
they start with, have we done it in the past? And more critically, are we going to do anything with that now?
Well, we just had we had the city hall employees. We did ours Thursday. There is a flu vaccine clinic at the senior center for seniors this Thursday. I think it's 10 to 1. But we'll get the hours for you. So that's a big one for the seniors. We've been working with Matt Crowley, Karen DeCampo, the city nurse, Mary Heater, the school nurse, Megan Doherty, and Jack Fraley from the Board of Health about getting students the vaccine for students, and we're working with the state to get more vaccines. They're providing more to communities at no cost, and also we're working on partnering with CVS to get a plan for the students in school and get parental consent, of course. But we're trying to make it much easier for students to get their vaccine and eliminate one more problem that the kids face during the flu season and the COVID season. So otherwise, a flu clinic on citywide scale, we don't have the vaccines, and the state's not giving us that amount that we'd be able to vaccinate 40,000 people. So my strong advice is that CVS has a great program if you don't want to go to your doctor, and there's the minute clinics and whatnot. But at this point, we're focusing on the children at school and the seniors at the senior center.
Yeah, I think it's really, hopeful, and I'm optimistic that as many people as possible who can safely take the vaccine and have access to it will be able to do that. It will certainly reduce false indications of COVID spread.
Yeah.
It will keep people one less thing for some folks to worry about. So thank you for updating us about the schools and the senior center. I think that's
Right.
really important for those folks in the community. And there are many places around that make it available through, if you don't have a regular doctor, but you want to get the flu vaccine, those are certainly options.
Yeah. And just, I know you asked Bonnie about the supervised learning at the library. Right now, we're working on filling the seats at the Boys Club. The Y is going great. So the supervised learning program is starting week 3, I think, at the Y, and week 2 at the Boys Club. And it's going really well. Both of them have great programs put in place, emphasizing, the distancing, the appropriate distancing, the masks, and it was pretty impressive. I've been to both the Y and the Boys Club, and they're really committed and they're really excited about being involved in this. And Bonnie said that the library stands ready and willing to offer up seats in the library should the need arise. So like I said, the library's been doing a lot of assistance with the schools, with regard to the curriculum coordinators are using 2 of the state-of-the-art rooms we have upstairs. Adriana Mendez Shelton has been working at an office supplied at the library, and she does great outreach work. And she's been one of the true superstars in this effort to get the supervised learning up and going, along with Mike Baldessari and Matt Crowley, and I keep saying a bunch of others, Rosemary Donovan and Julie Gage from the Y. They've really, and I hate to miss people's names, but there's been a group of them that have really been, shining in this effort.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. So at this point, there's no wait list then. Everybody who was interested is in the program. Yep.
Okay.
Great. And if somebody their situation changed at home, they, had to go back to work, or they're just realized that it was too much for them at this point, are they able to enroll?
Sure they are, yeah. There's an application process, and they would go through the same one as people have already. They, determine what their, affordability, their pay affordability is, and they go from there. But if
Great.
anybody would like to get in this, I urge them to start with their school principal, and then they'll point them in the right direction.
Well, that is wonderful to hear. I'm very pleased
Yep.
to hear that. I know that that's a really needed service, and I'm glad we were able to do that.
Yeah.
Scott, before I let you go, anything else that you want to update us on?
No, I think that's about it for now, but good to be on, and look forward to seeing you next week.
I'm really glad next week, for those who are watching, we'll have someone come on, Chris, who is running some transportation to get to polling. So if you need a ride to elections, whether it's to go to early voting or regular voting, she's offering a
Nice.
free service. So she's
Yeah.
going to come on and talk about how you could both volunteer to be a driver, but also how you can sign up to be driven.
Good.
So we'll continue to do that as we focus on that. And then in a couple of weeks, we've got Matt and some others from the school system that's going to come on as well. So
Good.
lots going on this
Yep.
fall in Woburn, and we're so grateful all of you were able to join us. And as always, for those who are watching, continue to take care of each other.
Thanks.